So before I came to grad school, I was a full-time artist. And so I made all my money making prints, doing collaborative prints with other people, doing shows, all that kind of stuff. So my idea was to come to grad school, get better at what I do, become rich and famous eventually. I'm a printmaker, this is what I do. And so the idea that I can take this, even when I finish printing it, this still has a value and I can do something with it. That's real interesting. So that's how I got into kind of the wood sculpture stuff. I think art is all about finding yourself and trying to find what makes you happy inside of what you do and what feels natural inside of what you do too. So I did a lot of stuff like comic books because I love comic books, but in the expression of drawing comics, that was not me. It felt awkward, it felt forced, it felt like I had to do a lot of work to get it out. And that's not how art's supposed to be. I found out much later that that's not how art's supposed to be. So when I made the transition from acrylic painting and watercolors to printmaking, in that moment, I said that I'm gonna close my eyes and whatever I see is what I'm going to do. And I think I saw Black people and I saw myself and I saw how I'm living and navigating in this world, the true kind of emotional core of who I am. And so I have to do that. And since that point, the work flows. And it's not forced. It's not like a labor for me to create or do something or say something. A part of the process in which I do are woodcuts. So woodcut is a relief printmaking process. So the idea is that you're taking a plate or a wood block and you're carving away certain marks into it. After it's carved, we're gonna ink it up, put some paper on it, roll it through the press. That's how you get your mass production of your prints. But the first part you have to do is have your sketch on your wood block, and then you're going to start carving away at all the places that you do not want to print. And so that's what I did. So on this process, it's a little bit different. Usually I draw everything out real technical and proficient, but this time with this project, I'm doing hand painting onto the blocks with just ink and brush, and then I'm gonna try to capture some of those gesture marks in the wood block print. So that's what we're gonna do. The fun part is always the carving. And so all you do is identify all the places. So on this block, everything that is red, I tint the whole wood block red first, so you can see where you mark at. It'll become evident as I start carving. On this particular one, I'm just gonna carve away all the areas that are not black and leave the black marks raised. And that's it. And have some fun. So the first thing you wanna do is always never carve towards yourself, right? It's very dangerous. Like Jaws, think of that music every time you do it. So you're always carving away from yourself. I like to start with the lines that I want to save. I kind of make a little outline for with a smaller V-gouge tool. And so once that edge is marked, then you can start to clear away the larger areas. On this block, I do want to capture kind of this loose gesture in the marks that you make with a brush and ink. And so I'm being really careful around the edges to make sure I get all of that kind of texture into it, because it shows up in the print. So I'm really using my hand with a glove just in case. I always cut myself. So just protecting my non-dominant hand. And so the thing about wood blocks is that you don't really need a sketch, because it doesn't matter what the sketch does. It only matters what you carve into the wood. So once the mark is made, it's permanent. That's how it's gonna print. That's what's gonna show up. So I think that gives me a little bit of freedom where I can just really get into this part of the process. The thing about printmaking is it's such a process that you have to stick to, that you can never really leave it. like you're always thinking about the next step, even when you're doing this part. Even when I was doing the drawing, I'm thinking about how it'll end up printing, how when I ink it, what will happen, how to register the two blocks together. I mean, the process is the process, and kind of everything you do inside of that is you. But that's when you get to have fun.